Continuing with George Hohmann's, let's say, propositions, we see another proposition. The more often in a recent past a person has received a particular reward, the less valuable any further unit of that reward becomes for that person. So this is more like a law of, let's say, economics, where they talk about decreasing utility of a particular activity, law of decreasing returns. That's the law of utility, which we see in the area of economics. So if an activity is there and once the needs have been, let's say, satisfied, the person has gotten what one wanted to get, maybe the need for that kind of activity goes down. So that is how he proposes that it may have to affect the social exchange. The same energy which was to be spent on the achievement of the results of the first activity, that energy or that action might be taken or diverted to some other activity. So that is how he thinks that if the reward has been achieved and probably the person doesn't need any more, then that action or that activity becomes less valuable. And since it becomes less valuable, thereby the same energy might be spent on another activity in exchange of which some other, let's say, needs might be fulfilled. So more a situation approximates one in which activity has been rewarded in the past, the more likely a particular activity to be emitted. So that's more like reinforcement of the action. So if an action was, let's say, rewarded adequately, the cost-benefit analysis was there, the rational approach was there, and it was, let's say, happy kind of action or interaction, then that activity is to be repeated in the future as well. So thirdly, when a person's action does not receive the reward expected or receive punishment that was not expected, he or she will be angry and become more likely to perform aggressive behavior. I think this is an exchange kind of situation, that when a person pays the cost, does the job, and then he expects a reward in return for doing that job, and if the return is not coming, the person feels a little upset. And if there is a continuous delay, then perhaps he thinks that the norms of that exchange have been violated, and he becomes angry. Not only angry, but he would like to make an effort to get the payment of the activity which he or she has performed. So he have done his job, then he looks for something in return. So he might become aggressive, although another theorist which is coming later on, Law, might be talking that it leads to some kind of revolutions. That's an aggressive kind of behavior. It might lead to protest, and the protest might lead to some kind of revolt. So that's aggressive behavior.